So yesterday I did a more technical topic. This is a bit less technical. So it just update on 2.3 that is coming as Mark Leonard answered his question. It's coming to this month. I mean November, right? So you should be prepared. We already advertised a lot of these features before, but here I'll just run quickly through main features with a little bit more focus on technical features. Right? Okay, so by the way, I'm director of architecture. I run architecture team. So that's why I'll start with backwards incompatible changes, the things that we are trying to minimize in the code base, but they still will be there. As some of you know, we have our policy that minor releases can have backwards incompatible changes. And being a very responsible company, we publish all of those features automatically on our dev docs, collect breaking changes, display the changes on dev docs, and add some explanations in many cases why we did them and what we changed. So you can find it on dev docs. Here's the link. You can find you can get the link to that page. Now I'll start with developer experience features that we are adding in 2.3. Of course, you've heard many times on these conferences and on all other conferences, PWA Studio. We are finally getting releasing the PWA Studio. If you follow the development of PWA Studio, it's split into it's two big parts. First, the PWA Studio itself. It's a set of tooling that that provides you ability to write PWA themes or PWA experiences, and Venya PWA theme that is a reference theme that allows you to start using Magento out of the box with PWA frontend. Right. So next thing is GraphQL API. Again, it is powering the PWA Venya PWA experience for Magento. So I'll discuss a bit more. I'll describe it a bit more. Asynchronous and bulk web APIs. It's a thing I wanted to have in Magento for a long time. APIs that allow you to create 100 products in one web request and to ask Magento to execute this operation, any operation that is exposed through Web API asynchronously. And declarative schema, one more thing that we've discussed for years already that will, I believe will improve upgrade experience, simplify upgrade experience. Whoa. Where's what happened? Now you'll see my email correspondence. Okay, now I don't see my mouse. It happens. I don't know what's happening here. Sorry, guys. The worst case scenario I'll be showing in this mode if I can't enable the finally. The problem is that 5 minutes before I had to come out here, PowerPoint decided to auto-update, so it hanged, and I thought that I'll have to send it to someone else's laptop. But well, I think I can continue with this mode. But
we can probably get you back on slide mode.
Go. Yeah, that's the problem. It doesn't work. I mean, I know how to.
Yeah, your mouse is gone. Oh wait, there it is somewhere. There it is.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Three times. 3 times. Well, for those who know me, it usually happens when I do something. Either microphone doesn't work, or there is some microphone is receiving some guide, some guy who's doing the tour, city tour in Croatia, and yeah, so it's.
Yeah, you need to probably restart PowerPoint.
Let's continue not to lose
I
time.
don't know if you can. There you go. Maybe.
Sorry guys, but I'll have to kill it. Yeah, that's Microsoft after.
There you go. You might be in it now.
Cool. Well, it was a team building experience, audience building. Now we all feel a bit closer, and it will be either. Okay, so Venya, all the beautiful things about it. PWA. Who knows what PWA is? Who doesn't know? Okay, who knows? Who knows? Okay, almost everybody knows. So I will not stop, and I will lose some time. This is the UX for Venya. It allows you to add your storefront to mobile homepage. Potentially in future will support offline mode. But the beautiful thing about it is that it's a very, very fast, slick, app-like experience on your mobile phones, right? So this is huge step for Magento to start building it. Technically, it's even bigger step to decoupling front end from back end, right? So today with PWA Studio, especially the second release that we already did a month ago, it completely decouples it from Magento application. So we have Magento front-end application and Magento back-end application. And Magento front-end application can work with any instance. So you don't have to have Magento installed locally on your machine. You can just say, okay, so my storefront will work with APIs located on this IP address. And that's it. So it significantly simplifies developer experience. So if you are agency, you can have your developers set up their development environments to single API server, and they don't have to bother with Magento. They might not even know what Magento is. All they need to know is how React works, how Venya works, and that's it. So it should significantly decrease cost of development of themes, speed of development. And here's, it might be a bit too risky with the state of PowerPoint to start video, but I'll try. So this is developer experience, hot reload. So developer edits markup of the page, and it's automatically reloaded and is modified in your theme, right? So this is developer experience, right? Everything is added automatically, so it's super slick. Again, developer experience for developer. This is PWA Studio. This is what it offers: automatic build, automatic static analysis, best practices. We have some super smart, world-class front-end software architects working for Magento now, and like you can now be sure that you will have a very professional theme on your Magento store. And we are releasing it PWA Studio. Remember 2.3. Venya will be released with a limited functionality, but it supports, even today, it supports full checkout from homepage, product navigation, add to cart, and checkout place order. Some other features are not supported yet, but they will be gradually added. Okay, so one more video. This video demonstrates the capabilities of PWA Studio. Our agency, Inchu from Croatia, they already created their own theme on PWA Studio. Again, this is mobile experience. It shows how it works. It shows in how little time they created their own theme with the tooling that we provide with PWA Studio. And you can see how responsive it is. Like even if it's still waiting for API request response from Magento backend, it's already it's already showing you see products. So it's a lot more interactive. You don't have to wait for a whole page to load. Okay, I'll pause here. If you want to see it, you can find it online or ask me. Okay, so here is the link to PWA Studio, our main repository. where we do all of the development. And if you are technical enough to make PowerPoint work when it's updating, you can install PWA Studio on your local machine. We have instructions. You go there, try it out, and we have servers on cloud that you can connect to. You don't even need to locally install Magento, but you can try out PWA Studio with sample data. Okay, so go there, check it out. Multi-source inventory, it was #1 partner voted feature requested for Magento. It was started as community project. Lots of contributions from community. I'll show contributors a bit later. But the important thing, you can have multiple sources, so multiple warehouses support in Magento and multiple stocks. Technically, important thing is that it's secure as principle I mentioned yesterday, separation to command API, source, and query API stock. But if you're merchants, you don't care about it. But the important thing is that it allows you to define very advanced routing capabilities. And personally, I'm very glad that finally in the scope of this epic, we introduced the concept of reservations to Magento. Instead of updating stock on order place operation, we are creating reservation. It's technically, it's very good because it's addition operation instead of mutation operation. It's very good for your scalability. It's very good for understanding, and it's a lot better reflects real world. Because when you buy something, you create a reservation. You don't decrement stock on your warehouse. But again, it's coming in 2.3, and that's it. And it was developed by community, mostly. So here's some animation on how many people worked on it. It's a huge effort for us. It's the first big feature that was developed by community, mostly. But as you can see, so many people contributed to this project. Okay, GraphQL. So GraphQL is a new generation of API standard that was defined specifically for mobile applications. The problem used to be that when you have REST API, so many people try to do REST APIs, but mobile applications don't work very well with such granular APIs. REST promotes you to build granular APIs. But if you need to do many HTTP requests to server to retrieve data, you have a problem with performance. That was one of the reasons why people Facebook came up with GraphQL standard for APIs that allows you to communicate your mobile application or your PWA application, single page application, to communicate with server very, very efficiently, right? So you can do, in single request, you can retrieve all the data that you need from your server. And you can even specify, so you can retrieve all you need and only what you need. So you can specify what fields you need, right? So it allows you to more efficiently retrieve data from your server. This is an example of how API schema looks. It's a lot more convenient for many people to use than REST APIs. And it's more GraphQL endpoints, especially in Magento, we separated our APIs. In Magento 2, we had only 2.0, we had only a single set of APIs, REST APIs. But now we see that our REST APIs are very suitable for admin scenarios because they give you all of the information about product. They give you too much for storefront scenarios, right? So you suffer with performance, you pay bigger price for what you don't need. So we split basically, again, separation of APIs. REST APIs will cover admin scenarios. GraphQL API will cover storefront scenarios, and it's very, very optimized for storefront scenarios only. Like it will not give you all the information about prices. It will only give you the regular price and discounted price. It will not give you all the possible product options that you would use for product edit form, but it will only give you the information that you need for product view page, right? Okay. So again, it all looks nice and very comes up with a bunch of convenient developer features. we built new modules, so we recommend to introduce new module for your GraphQL. Again, this is our modularity, new modularity approach that allows you to build more modular Magento to allow you to remove modules that you don't use in future. So if you have admin endpoint, for example, and you don't need GraphQL endpoints, you can just remove GraphQL modules and your Magento will work as expected. But it will be much lighter, much easier to start, much faster to download all the code base. Smart, very smart. Okay. So this is our GraphQL. Again, Karen, is she here? Last year in Australia, when we presented first definition of first iteration of our GraphQL and GraphQL declaration, it was in XML because Magento is XML, loves XML, and Karen told us that we were crazy and nobody would like it. So Karen Baker, and 1 month later, we released the SDL format, which is supposedly much more convenient for developers. Karen hopefully is happy now. Okay, so for today we support following endpoints, following queries. We plan to add full checkout, orders, and my account endpoints fairly soon. And other things that we plan to work on. GraphQL APIs are already faster than REST APIs, but they are not as much faster as we plan them to be, because for today they still use all the full command persistence layer. So it loads, they still load all the product data, all the information. So we plan to build much lighter query API that will be built in the scope of modularity epic that I was talking about yesterday. So again, the project with contributions. If you're a developer, please jump in, contribute. We will give you some contribution points. You'll be star of Magento community. Important thing, again, I mentioned asynchronous web APIs. Already said, allows you to execute heavy operations asynchronously. It'll save a lot of time for many developers here. If you mentioned, you might not understand all the complications, but many people wanted this. Bulk API, again, very important thing. And allows you to save 1,000 products in one request. And again, almost all built with community contribution. Magento only offers in such project, Magento only offers architect review and lead developer code review and product owner. So it's, thanks for all this, thanks to all these guys for contribution. Message queue moved to open source. Of course, if you wanted to support asynchronous web APIs that were built using Magento built-in message queue, it was in Commerce Edition, right? Today, we had to move our message queue support to open source edition. Okay, you don't seem excited, but it's very cool. Since I'm moving from commerce to open source, they become free, great. Okay, so now, also we introduced validation, request validation. It doesn't look like there is a lot of developers here, but if you're a developer, we improved experience and security of application by introducing action controller validation by interface. So every controller has to implement interface for the action that it can handle. So you cannot now handle post requests in a GET controller. Better security, great for everyone. Okay, one of my favorites. If you remember, we had imperative scripts. The scripts, when you said upgrade scripts were imperative, you wrote them in PHP when you said create table, add column, remove column, add index, which lots of problems with that, but the main problem is that you tell your machine how to do things. Machine is smart enough to execute algorithms. So you should tell your machine what do you want, and machine should figure out what to do for that. So that is basically the difference between declarative and imperative approaches. Imperative, you tell machine how to do things. Declarative, you tell machine what do you want. Right? So we switched from imperative to declarative. Now, schema is described in XML. You basically describe the state of database that you want in. What is the benefit of that? Huge benefit. You don't have to, our Magento will figure out, so you just tell Magento as a developer what columns and tables you want there, and Magento will figure out what to do, what columns to add, what columns to remove, what indexes to add, what indexes to remove. And it supports rollbacks and recovery. If you broke your database, Magento will be able to recover it, of course, to some extent. Right? Of course, for more advanced scenarios, we support, still support upgrade patches, data upgrade patches, and schema upgrade patches. Mostly, you should use data upgrade patches if you will do some custom conversion of columns and stuff like that. But yeah. And of course, we will support old scripts for some time, and we have script to convert imperative scripts to declarative scripts. Page builder. Igor was talking about it, but it's mostly merchant feature, ability to edit pages and author beautiful content on your pages. It was a feature long awaited by Magento merchants. We are releasing it in beta with 2.3 and 2.3.1 it will be GA. So the cool thing is that you have preview, and it's a WYSIWYG editor. So this is how it looks in preview mode, and this is how it looks on your page. Great? Yeah. So a lot, some developer information. I don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but again, Magento loves XML, lots of XML here. Column declaration, all the attributes. This is the release plan that I mentioned for Page Builder, 2.3 beta, then it will be GA. We did significant improvements in performance with, especially with indexation, with splitting indexes by dimensions, security, added two-factor authentication, Google Recapture, and ACL management. These are all community projects. By the way, so I mentioned Elasticsearch, message queue in Commerce Edition was moved to Open Source Edition, but the biggest thing for merchants is Elastic is moved to Open Source Edition. So, as you probably know, Magento had MySQL search support in open source, Elastic in Commerce Edition. Now we moved Elastic to open source. Things are getting free, things are getting better. The great thing about it technically is that we don't have to support two search implementations. So we'll focus on search, we'll have more resources to focus on search. Quality improvements, and of course, upgrade to PHP 7.2, upgrades of libraries, and all the underlying libraries. Two-factor authentication contributed by Riccardo Tempesta, or also known as the Rick. Same guy contributed Recaptcha. We upgraded our WYSIWYG editor. This is the standard Magento WYSIWYG editor. And as I mentioned, Elasticsearch was upgraded. And 7.2 support, which has some improvements in memory usage and performance improvements in the application. One more thing somewhat important for developers, we removed versions from GitHub. So now in GitHub, you don't have versions in your packages because they don't make sense there. Don't make a lot of sense there. You will only have versions in Composer packages. Well, we fixed 1,800 bugs. Some people are like, wow, you had 1,800 bugs. Yes, we did, and we will have more. But you have to understand that Magento is open to the bugs that we have. All platforms have thousands of bugs because it's complicated, huge software that supports thousands of scenarios. And of course, in those thousands of scenarios, you will have thousands of bugs. But we fix them, especially with the help of community. We fix them with a lot higher velocity than anybody else does, right? So Magento 2.3 is a lot more stable. So 2.2 was fairly stable. 2.3 is more stable. And that's it. Thank you for your attention.
All right. Due to the technical issues, we did shift a little bit of time into his presentation and out of Q&A, so I've only got time for like one or two really pointed questions. We're going to get more bugs. We're getting free stuff. That's the takeaway here. So who has got some questions about the presentation thus far? All right, all the way in the back. Get my cardio in. Come on now.
Hi, I have a question regarding to the PWA. Since you already use PWA, do you have any plan to, because PWA uses Vue.js a lot. Do you have any plan?
So there is Vue storefront that uses Vue.js. PWA Studio uses React.
I see. So how about Knockout? Like, do you have any
So
plan?
Knockout, our current theme, so once we have fully functional PWA storefront, Luma will be deprecated. It will stay there for a couple of years, but that's it. We are moving all rendering to browser.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. One more lucky winner with their hand up gets a question. Who's got it? There it is. All right.
Can you speak a little bit about migration from 2.2 to 2.3, and especially the front-end aspects of it?
For migration, as I said, as I mentioned, the database, the upgrades, breaking changes are documented on the page, and whenever, so you'll have guided upgrades. We didn't do significant breaking changes, so this, I wouldn't say this upgrade should be painful for you. I would definitely start to use declarative schema because it's just so much more convenient than imperative scripts, and it's more convenient for you. And especially if you're an extension developer, you should do that. Action controllers, please review what you do with your action controllers. And other than that, start switch to Elastic. If you still use MySQL, Elastic gives you a lot better, a lot more relevant results. And take a look at asynchronous APIs. If you have some integration, many people I talk to to agencies, everybody's expecting that, because today, as I mentioned, any more or less serious Magento store is not just Magento, it's integrations. And asynchronous API allow you to do synchronization, asynchronous bulk API allow you to do integrations a lot more efficiently. So I wouldn't expect a lot of changes that you are required to do as a developer, but there is some changes that you want to do as a developer when you upgrade to 2.3.